morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Carol here from Oak House Journals. I've got something that I'm hoping will be of interest to those of you that are participating in the Sew for the Soul project. As you can see, I've got my snippet roll here that I'm happily embroidering on. I've got a lot more to do on it, and I've been rather slow doing it because I've been tied up doing other things. But what I wanted to share with you is these vintage spools. Very quickly, first off, I'll put the link down below for Anne Brookes' Sew for the Soul project. For those of you that don't know about it, it will explain what it is. But basically, it's slow stitching on a fabric roll or a snippet roll, just for the pure pleasure of sewing, adding beads and buttons, and it's been going for a few months now. In fact, I think Anne has just finished her snippet roll and is about to go on to another new project. But having said that, this is something that you can do at any time at all. And I was so enjoying doing this that I decided that I would get one of Anne's gold and grey kits out of her shop and have it stashed away ready for doing later on in the year when I finish this one. Now, when I first started doing this, I kind of ran out of steam. So I treated myself to this lovely, let me just raise the camera up a little bit. There we go. This lovely vintage spool that I managed to find on eBay. By the time I paid for it and had it shipped, it wasn't cheap. So I know that I will be hanging this in my craft room when I finished it. And I will certainly do that with the next one, the grey and sort of like mustardy coloured one that I'm planning to do later on in the year. But I didn't really want to fork out again for another one of these spools. So what I decided to do, and if I unravel this, I made one of these, and it's still a vintage spool. It's made out of the spool that was a piano roll. And again, let me put the camera up again for you. Oh, sorry, I hope this isn't making you feel a bit sick. In my Etsy shop, I've been selling piano roll paper. And to help with shipping, I've been taking it off the spools. I have been supplying it with the spools if anybody wanted one of these with their paper on it and the original boxes. But obviously that adds quite a bit to the shipping. So whilst there was that option, primarily I was selling it in 12-metre packs and taking the piano roll paper off the spools. Which left me with a load of these vintage spools, which I really didn't want to get rid of because they're absolutely gorgeous. And I was fascinated by them because they're not all exactly the same. As you can see, this one's got no brass embellishments on. This one's got silver embellishments on, or silver coloured metal. This one has like a brass finish to it at either end. So as I said, I had loads of these left over and I just popped them to one side in the garage until inspiration came along as to what to do with them. And this was the inspiration that I had. So what I decided to do was I will put these in my Etsy shop for people to use for the snippet rolls if they want to. Now you can either leave them the full size, which is just, this one is about just shy of 12 inches or 30 centimeters. So when you get a full size spool, they're about that size. Now if you were going to do a complete wall hanging, or even a paper hanging, these would be perfect to use. I've seen recently, I saw a paper hanging where somebody had used eco dye paper in squares and sewn on it, embellished it, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. So that's on my project list. Another idea I saw was somebody had used Kodak film slides and covered them, and they were all hung together through eyelets and jump rings, not off one of these, they were just hung, and I just thought they looked amazing. So that's another project I'm thinking of trying at some stage in the future. But these things, these spools, would make fabulous hangers for them. So as I say, they are in my, or they will be later on today, they will be in my Etsy shop, and I'm just going to sell them for a couple of pound each. I'm not proposing to cut them down into this size for you, but what I will do is show you exactly how easy it is to cut them down. The one thing I would say is I do the centre piece here of the spool, on some of them it's wood. Now these wooden ones I would suggest that you use if you want a full-size hanger. The tutorial I'm going to show you is not for how to deal with the ones that have the wooden centre. The one I'm going to show you is for one like this, which, as you can see, there's a bit of paper left on it, has a cardboard inner to it. Now, as you can see here, if I hold that up to the camera, some of them have that, and some of them have that inside. And what it is, it's a little nail. But when the cardboard ones are broken in half, as you can see, they're hollow and they're really easy to manipulate and to cut to size, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So effectively you can turn one of these into whatever size you want for your snippet roll, and this one here is 2.5 inches. This piece in here is 2.5 inches, and you've got plenty of clearance here for wrapping several your snippet roll round several times. So if you wanted to increase that length up to 12 inches, you could. So if you wanted to make one that would be, say, 8 inches or 6.5 inches or 5 3/4, the tutorial I'm going to show you is really easy for doing that. And very quickly, before I go on to showing you how to do that, let me just explain that some of these in my Etsy shop have a smaller diameter end to them than this one. If I hold it up to the camera, if I can get it in, as you can see, I can't get it in without moving the camera, but basically this one compared to this one is a lot bigger. The inner tube is exactly the same size. It's about an inch in diameter, is it? Let me just check that for you. Yeah, it's just shy of an inch. It's about 3/4 in diameter inside. Both of these are available in my Etsy shop, and I will list them differently so that you can see the difference. One will be referred to as the large piano roll spools, and one will be listed as small piano roll spools. And let me just give you the diameter of the smaller one. It's 2 inches across here, and for the larger one it is 2 3/4. So there's not much in it, but it just means that you would be able to wrap your snippet roll round the bigger one a lot more times, or a few more times than you would on this one. I don't have as many of the larger ones as I do of the little ones, but actually for me I found the little one is going to be absolutely fine for what I want to do with it on my snippet roll. Okay, enough chatting. I will get on and show you very quickly how to chop these down to this. Okay, so here is a piano roll that one of these, let me move that out of the way, one of these that all I have done is I've broken it in half and I put it on either side of my knee and bent it towards my body, and it just breaks really, really easily. It is not hard at all. I can't do that on camera because I can't take this down to my knee, but let me see if I can just break it by hand. Yeah, there you go. Did you hear that go? And all I did was just rest that across my my thigh and press down and break it. And as you can see, they break really, really easily. Had I known that was just going to come off there, that is the first time that has ever happened with all of these, because they are on tight. And had I known, I wouldn't have needed to break it in half. But that's not a problem. In fact, I can show you on this one. So, as you can see, they break really, really easily. What I did say to you was one end is always secured with a nail. Now, underneath here, and this is where this one's going to prove me wrong. It's amazing. They're all slightly different, the piano rolls that I have. When you peel off the final piece of paper, I can't find it on this one, it's not going to come off. One end is usually secured with a nail. If it's not, oh, happy days, because that really does make life a lot easier. But because these are cardboard, they are so easy to cut. So all I did, getting another one, was I got a pencil and a ruler. When I broke my piece in half, got a pencil and a ruler, marked with my pencil how big I wanted my spool to be, and this one I'm making 2.5 inches, and all I did was, resting my ruler against this edge, the inside, I marked all the way around 2.5 inches. And then I'm just going to clear my decks a little bit. Then I put a cutting mat underneath. I used, you can use an X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife. And all I did was I went round just very gently at first to get my line in place. Just cutting a thin line along my markers. Now, the reason I say do this is because it's easier than trying to saw away and go through all the way from the start. And I just worked my way all the way round with my Stanley knife. Just watch your fingers, everybody. Usual caveat to anything we do with scissors and knives. But in the mortal words of Nick the Booksmith, I'm not your mother. So then, once I've scored that, what I found the easiest way to do was then just go through my tube like that. And then do another bit, a little bit deeper. And go through my tube. And take your piece out. There we go. And just work your way round doing that. And I just found that once I'd made that breakthrough in one place, it just made life so much easier for doing the rest of the tube. Just peel your bits away. It's not hard to do. You don't have to be particularly neat, but it will help life if you can be. And take a little bit of time to get a straight edge here. And I'm just going to pull the camera down a little bit more for you because I didn't realise that I was so high there. Okay, so once I've done that, or once I did that, obviously you've got one end that is free, and all I did was I just very, very carefully, again minding your fingers, tidied up that edge. All I'm doing is trying to get a little bit of these bits out. So you've got a rough edge like that. Okay, now the other edge is where the nail is. Now, as I said, if you don't have one that has a nail, happy days. But if you do, it's not difficult. Again, it's really, really easy. So what I suggest you do is just cut through your tube on either side of that nail. Now, what you're trying to do is obviously get this part of the tube off this bit so that you can put this bit on here. So unless you have a use for this, you don't have to be too precise or neat. You just need to get the tube off. And it will come, it just takes a little bit of time. Now, these bits are invariably, just be careful with, it will chop away because all it is compressed cardboard. There we go. And this is just some pieces that are glued on. So effectively what it leaves you with, if you chip away at the cardboard around your nail, is an exposed nail. Now I could really chop that, there we go, if I hold that up to the camera, there we go. So this is just some paper that's, or some cardboard that's just left glued to the stem there. I'm just going to put my knife away. So all I did then was I got a pair of pliers, clasped it round my nail and just gently worked away. I'm not applying any pressure here at all, I'm just wiggling it and it's coming nicely. And there you go, the nail's out, and that's your piece of spool end. Okay, so I'm just going to clear this right royal mess that I've made here before I go on to the next bit and show you what I did then. There we go. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I wasn't happy that the one I created here had a rough edge like this, because I knew that this edge wouldn't seat itself nicely against this flat surface here. So I actually used an emery board to do this next bit, just a normal one that you would use on your nails. In fact, I will get mine out and show you. Yeah, mine was just a bog standard emery board, and all I did was I went over the top and just filed it to get it nice and neat. In fact, I think I used this one, and I just took my time and filed it, because after all, as I said before, it's just cardboard. And all I did was this. And the reason I used my emery board was because it was in the craft room and I was being lazy. I didn't want to go out to the garage to get some fine grade sandpaper, which is what this is and what I brought in for the purposes of the tutorial, and I'm still ending up using the emery board. You don't need to spend much time on the inside, to be honest. I did, because I'm just like that. But what you do need to spend time doing is making sure that this edge is flat, and that's why I brought in the sandpaper today. And this is, as I say, this is just very, very fine grade sandpaper that you can get from any DIY store that you would use for painting and decorating and jobs around the house. It's nothing special. I think this grade is 100, so it's classed as fine. It's not ultra fine. You could probably use medium grain sandpaper, but just be a little bit more gentle with it. But as I say, an emery board works fine. And all you want to do is make sure this is flat, because obviously it's going on this flat edge. It's not rocket science. And all I did, or all I'm doing, is just gently rubbing it on my sandpaper to get a smooth finish, as you can see there. Now, what you can do now to complete your spool is you can put some glue on this stem here. You don't even need to clean that off, or you can just push it on, and as you can tell by the pressure I'm having to put on it, it's on. Now, I probably could twist that off again, but it's on very, very firm. If you wanted to put a bit of glue on that bit, then you certainly could do. But really, I absolutely don't think, sorry, I've got a huge mess on my desk here. I absolutely don't think that is necessary. And all I did was that to create this. Now, as you can see, this one I made 3 inches across here. This one is 2.5 inches. So you've got plenty of room to put your snippet roll on. I'll just put mine on. I'm not going to give you a close-up because it's not very good. It's not very good. So that one is and the one I've just created is a nice snug fit for a 2.5 inch snippet roll. What I prefer is one that is bigger, so this is 3 inches, because I'm going to be putting an edge on on either side of my snippet roll. I want to be putting more lace on it. So there you go. If anybody is interested, as I say, the piano rolls will be in my shop. I would give them away if I could, but you can't do that on Etsy. So I'm just going to list them for a couple of quid, regardless of whether it's one of the ones that are big or the smaller ones. They're both either size. They are going to be a couple of quid. But I just thought, as lovely as this is, they're very expensive for a vintage bobbin, and I couldn't justify spending more money to get another one of these. And actually, I like the idea that these are repurposed, and also these are vintage. They might even be antique because they came from the original piano rolls, as I say. So there you go, everybody. Just a very, very quick and easy tutorial if you are interested. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I forgot to say a warm, very warm welcome to all my new subscribers, and to my existing ones. Well, gosh, you're awesome. Thank you very much for sticking with me and supporting me. Hope you all have a lovely day. It's the start of the week, so I kind of hope you all have a lovely week too. So take care, everybody. Bye.